Radical.
Welcome to Flea Market Stories, documenting one man's journey into the world of flea marketing. This is My Little Pony Free. My Little Pony Free, okay? Now, in the future, I'm not saying there might not be some more My Little Pony related content for all you, what do they call the My Little Pony people? Pony bronies? For all you bronies out there, I want to be welcoming to the brony community. Actually, no, I don't really care much about the brony community. No offense, but some of you might be sad to learn that this channel is not taking a turn to focus primarily on My Little Pony stuff. But no, we had our My Little Pony party weekend, and now it's over. This was a good day at the flea market. It was. In several respects, it was a good day, and I wasn't expecting it to be a good day. I was not. I was thinking it's going to be another boring, low sales, rainy day. Because a couple weeks before, I had a $12 rainy day. Like literally $12 that I sold on a rainy day. I believe it was raining that day, but I wasn't feeling it. I thought to myself, should I even really go and bother and show up? And I'm glad that I showed up. And I really learned to just have faith, man. Just have faith in the table, in my setup, the fact I have some quality stuff. Some days are not going to be your day, and some days are going to be your day. And damn, this was really my day. Considering that, well, starting off, I think a lot of what it made it my day was the fact I had a fresh, 7 hours of sleep. 6-7 hours, and that's a lot for me on the weekend. And now I'm yawning because, I'm ready to go to bed again because I just got back from a main job. But it made so much of a difference, me having that rest and waking up not, just just trying to get myself up like a freaking zombie or whatever. When you wake up and parts of you are awake, but parts of you are still kind of asleep, No, I was just fully refreshed. I think going forward, I really underestimate the fact of how being fully refreshed can actually help you as a salesperson and help everything going on there. So it started out, I thought it was going to be a very slow day. I didn't see a whole lot of people there. It's one of those days to where I think I benefited because there wasn't a whole lot of people setting up, but there was more customers coming than a lot of shop people set up. So I really honestly can't tell you why it was such a good day. Everything just kind of hit. Everything just kind of clicked. It was my day. And I'll tell you why it was my day. And fate was on my side is because I accidentally brought a bad Xbox 360 Slim power supply. I had one on display. I was selling for $130. I'd sold an Xbox 360 yesterday, but I had one left for sale. And I went with a minimized table setup. Because like I said, I wasn't even really thinking about maybe going that day, or if I was going to go, well, I was probably still going to go, but only being there until 12, like a solid 3 hours. And that was just long enough for somebody to come by that I had promised a trade to for some games. I'll try to make this as short as possible, but there's a lot that went on this day, a lot of things to talk about, but I'll try to make this maybe under half an hour. It was my day because I brought 2 power supplies with me, and one happened to just not work. I accidentally picked up the power supply that I meant to throw away that did not work. Here's a tip for a lot of you that do this kind of stuff and deal in this. Maybe you sell games, maybe you flea market, wherever, maybe you have a store. Always make sure to put an X on the things that do not work and throw them away if you're not going to have them fixed. Because it will be a situation where you pick it up and, you don't know because they all look like power supplies. So I thought, shit. I promised this guy the system for a trade of Xbox One games for this Xbox 360 system, and he wanted the hookups also. I told him he could have the system for free, and I'll explain why in a little bit. But I was trading him the games for the hookups, and I'm like, shit. So I said, maybe I'm not here till 12. Maybe he shows up at 10. and I take the power supply off the good one that I'm demoing, but it doesn't matter because I can't sell Xbox to anyone else I'm selling without power supply, so I'm like screwed both ways. Within a minute of me having that thought, believe it or not, there was a vendor that had never vendored there before, 2 tables down, walked over, presented to me what else but an Xbox 360 Slim power fucking supply. Within a minute of me making that discovery, he held it out and said, "Would you like this for $1?" And I yelled at him. I said, "Yes, I'll buy that for $1." No, I didn't yell at him. I could have, though, because I was so happy. I told him, "Man, you're a lifesaver. This is so awesome. I just needed this." The stars aligned, even though it was daytime. Everything worked in my favor. And the day continued to go pretty much just like that. So I was able to get a power supply. It worked. And he even said, make sure to test it before I sell it. I'm like, hell, take a chance for $1 on the power supply. But sorry about the sniffles. I'll try to get these out of the way. Try to get that out of the way for the rest of this. But man, I was on cloud 9 because now I can have the other one for the system I'm demoing to sell games, of course, and maybe to sell it. And it was about maybe 9:30 at that point. The other guy came around 10. He said he would come there at 10. I texted him and said, because it's probably going to be raining, I thought it was going to be raining most of the morning. I said, I probably won't be there that long. I'll come there just long enough to make the trade with you for the games. And he came by, and I made the trade of what other system but, remember that show off Saturday? I showed off that gorgeous, near mint, white glossy Xbox that I wanted so badly to be my Xbox, my main Xbox. But I couldn't download my profile to it because there was corrupted memory or it was an online ban. Well, this guy, he doesn't really get online with him that much. He just wanted to play the games. And I told him, doesn't have a hard drive. You can just have it. I just gave it to him. I wanted to find a good home. I did. And you should see the look on his eyes when he saw that thing. He was so happy. Now, he has an Xbox One, so I don't understand it, but a lot of people have been playing a lot of 360 games there, and it's almost like, I'm not going to say I'm turning people to the 360 from the Xbox One, but they're liking a lot of the games that they're demoing there. And he was incredibly happy, and he kept going, wow, this is just in such a gorgeous condition. Like he couldn't just take his eyes away from it. And I was sad to have to get rid of it. But I can get another one, of course. But I don't know if I get another one in that kind of condition. I was happy that he was happy, So sometimes the thing about happiness in life is, and some of you that have kids understand this, it's about sometimes making other people happy. And you have happiness from making others happy, like children, And as I say that, he's maybe like, I don't know how old he is exactly, but he's maybe like in his late 20s, early 30s. I want to say he has the mind of a child, but it's really weird. It's kind of interesting. He's like more like a Forrest Gump type, whereas like he's an adult, but there's childlike aspects. I don't know. Like he's harmless, but I can't just put my finger on it. Like, I don't know if he has something or whatnot. He's got to have something. Like, he's not completely 100% normal, but hey, how many of us are 100% normal? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a subjective thing, what normal is. But he's a real sweet dude, man. He's real nice. And he's the kind of guy that if I ask him to do something, he would. Like, if I said, hey, go 2 rows over and see if there's any video games on that table over there. He's like, sure will. I'll be right back. So it's very beneficial to have somebody like that. And that's why I try to keep him around and give him good deals and whatnot. And he got a hell of a deal on that because I was going to charge $10 for the power supply, $5 for the connection, cable or HDMI. And what else was there? The controller, yes. White controller he chose. So for all that, he traded me 5 Xbox One games. Evil Within 1, Evil Within 2, a horror game I'd not really heard of. Elder Scrolls Skyrim Legendary Edition and Elder Scrolls Morrowind. And I think it's a fair trade for all those games. Those games, I will tell you, they look to me in pristine condition. Those discs do not have a scratch on them, not a single freaking scratch. This guy, he takes care of his stuff. He is meticulous. And I really appreciate that somebody. And he said, when I handed him that white Xbox 360, he said, I'm going to take care of this. And I know he is. Now, there was some other stuff that happened around like this fella. Mainly, he demoed Forza Horizon 4, I believe. And also there's a connection cable that I pay $5 each for them. I get 2 for 10. Like a plug-in cable, not a charging cable. Well, maybe you can use it to charge something with, I don't know. But it's the cable that basically allows you to play the Xbox 360 controllers without using the batteries. And he wanted that. He was wondering if it came with the cable, and I was like, no, that's extra. He asked how much it was, and I said $10. So he said, I'll have some money next week. He gets paid for a tree trimming job, I believe. He said, I get paid next week like $300, something for that. So I'll come back and I'll give you $30 for Forza Horizon 4 and the connector cable, which I was fine with because the connector cable I pay $5 for, so that's $5 profit on that. And of course, a little bit, of course, some profit on Forza. So I'm like, I'm cool with that. You take that home, enjoy that, and just pay me next week. But there was another thing that happened, which was kind of strange. First time this has ever happened, where I had a customer actually pull me to the side and ask me for money to go buy something. Like they were your child. He asked me for money to go buy a backpack that he told this guy to hold back. And I'm thinking like, he ain't got no money. We had like a dollar he gave me for some kind of a game. I forget what it was. Oh, by the way, I have a dollar tray. And that thing was popular, man. I was moving games at $1 in that tray like you would not believe. So that $1 is the right price for the hockey games. So he asked me for, $10. Then I said, you really, really want it? He's like, yeah, I really want it. I'm thinking like, okay, I'm going to really knock this one out of the park. I'm going to make me a customer for life, and I'm going to lend him $10 to go get his Puma bag. It was a red Puma bag. Looks sharp for $10. It looks sharp. It's kind of bag where I might pay him $20 for. This is a nice bag, right? I have a Puma bag also. It's a black bag. Yeah, so he has that, so he owes me $40 now. But not a big deal. I wasn't stressing about it because, like I said, I'm going to get, that money next week. And I sold a good bit of edgy games. I did. Let's get out of the way what I sold that was not video games. Some Pokemon cards that I was given for, to sell for someone else. Sold 1 pack of those. $4, so I get $2 from that. I sold some DVDs, man. I only had 4 trays of DVDs. I had given up on DVD sales. But, you know what? I sold My Cousin Vinny. I sold Chicken Little. I sold 2 others. 2 separate people. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because I put the DVDs on the side table to the right of me that was empty, and people got a good view of them. But I sold some DVDs. Whole weekend, though, guess what I did not sell? I did not sell a single music CD, which was shocking to me. I brought out more music CDs. I had them in a really nice looking tray assortment. It looked sharp. I brought in more. And some people looked through them, but I got asked for Van Halen, something else if I had in there. And yesterday, I forgot to mention this, but there were some people that were excited to see all the CDs. They asked me about some of the stuff, talked about music a little bit, and I was like, they're super excited. I know they're going to buy a lot out of trays, but they did not. So I was like, what the hell? What in the freaking hell? I mean, I wasn't mad about it, but I'm just thinking like, that's kind of weird. And then I think to myself, okay, don't ever give up on anything. I'd given up on DVDs, but there's people out there. You never know when they're going to come by and buy a couple DVDs. I had pretty much like said, I'd even considered changing everything around to a music store, kind of, because my music had just taken off. And I said, I can get boxes of music CDs from Goodwill a lot cheaper than I can games. So the profit potential is a lot higher maybe on music CDs. But I'm never going to get away from the gaming stuff. I briefly thought about it earlier in the week because I said, man, it's just like a big headache. And then I have warranties. What if somebody brings back a system? Then I have to replace a system on the spot. But as a profit there, I'm going to still stick with game stuff. I don't even know why I had that thought to go away from it. I think I was just a little bit over encumbered. But I have some thinking to do on the table arrangement because this day, without the other table, without the pop up arcade, was one of my better days I've had in weeks. Sales wise, I made like almost 200, and that's a really good for one day, like 5.5 hours. It's really good in that spot. It's really good in that spot. I mean, and it would have been maybe closer to 400 if I would have had a lot more stuff to sell. I guarantee you that particular day, I might have had a banner day at $400 for 5 hours. I might have had a banner day, just the way that day was going. Um, so those were the sales pretty much. It was mostly a gaming day, mostly. Now, remember that guy that gave that $1 power supply? Remember him when he walked over? He looked at my video game stuff and he noticed not the legendary edition, but regular 360 edition. There wouldn't be legendary then. There's a different because it has the second disc with it. I don't know what they called it. It was a special edition for. I think it was regular though. Skyrim. So he talked about how he had a copy of Skyrim, but his kid like kind of fling it like a frisbee, and then it got like a huge scratch on it and just doesn't work and whatnot. So I put it in. I showed him Skyrim works. And I said, listen, because you gave me that deal on that power supply, half off for you. This is $10 for you if you want today. I have that power. I realize now that I have that power to adjust prices if I want to on certain days. I could say anything like, you know what, I got a lot of copies of that at home I acquired, so I could probably let that go for 10. I can let things go. I can if I want to. There's going to be your people that come by and pay you full price for something. And there's times in certain situations, if it's somebody you can let things go. I'm not going to be hard lining on this game stuff because you know what? Odds are maybe I paid $2 or $3 for a copy of Skyrim in a trade or something. If I sell for 10 or 20, still making money either way. So that's what it comes down to in sales. You got to know your customers. Sometimes you got customers that's going to pay you full price and not haggle, not at all. And there's going to be some customers that, not that they haggle, but you want to make special deals with, and then they'll keep coming back because they think they're your special person. They're one of your special customers. And you tell them that, like, you know what, for you, I'll do that. There's nothing more powerful than being able to say, for you. It makes people feel appreciated and they keep coming back. So it's making a determination that in the long term, you're going to have somebody that comes back because you give them deals that they think they're getting special deals. Whereas if it's somebody that thinks you're charging too much and you maybe don't give them a deal, if they're a regular and whatnot. And there's not a point where, they keep buying things from you and you don't say like, you know what, you've been buying from me for a long time so I'll give you a deal on that. Then that further solidifies that, relationship between not only you as this other person as potential friends, but there's more things I'm learning a year into this, You ultimately just want to have people coming back. And that way, if you're having a bad sales day, guess what? You got that person coming back that, you gave a good deal to a couple weeks back. So it's kind of like a balance. Is it right? Is it wrong? It's just sales, man. It's what it is. So, I struggle with that too, thinking about like, shouldn't I have the same prices for everybody? Not if you want to be successful in sales. And ultimately, this is about being successful as a salesperson. And yeah, I did sell a Black Ops 2. There was a period of time where I had a good bit of people coming by. I think last week or the week before, I knew somebody was looking at Black Ops and they was saying like, well, I can get that cheaper online or this. And I spoke up. They didn't say nothing. I said like, well, yeah, you might be able to, but there's no guarantee it's going to work. Maybe it's just the fact that, like, I put $25 on Black Ops 2 and has a very fair price for that item because that is a sought after game right now because of backward compatibility. And finding a copy of this that is in good condition that works, that is going to be difficult because, it's over like a decade old now. It's 2012 game. So I'll explain to these people finding good condition copies of things as time goes on is more and more difficult. So you got to factor that into everything. So there was a guy came by and he basically just, I don't know if he spoke good English, I'm not sure. But he asked me to basically put the disc in and try it out. And I did. And the system that was set up. See, that might have hurt me a sale because I thought about not even having these systems bringing out because I wasn't going to be that long that day. So me even having one system out to display and test both those games out helped me nail those sales. The $10 Skyrim, which was a discount, admittedly, because the guy gave me a deal and helped me out there. And then the Black Ops 2, right? But the sales did not end there. I mean, if that would have been like, that, $35, $40, and then I leave it at noon, I'd be okay with that. Not that particular day. Because I was thinking, nobody's going to come out because it's overcast and everyone thinks it's going to rain. I was okay with it. But no, it was far more than okay because I continued to get game sales. There's a guy that came by that I do lots of dealings with, and I told him about a game tray that I had. Everything was $1 in there. It started out 25 games. Now there's like 3 or 4 left in there. He got the system for his kids that came by, and I was thinking to myself, oh, okay, he's got some kids and he wants to have a game system there for little kids to come by and play the system. But I was thinking, wait a second, this guy's maybe like in his 60s. So I was like, whoa, good going there, guy. You probably have like a 20-year-old wife or something, and you just like, popped in there and she had popped out some kids and whatnot. I don't know. Some 20, 25-year-old wife, and I'm thinking like, hey, he's got it going on. But no, I asked, well, what kind of games do the kids like of yours? Like, how old are they? And he was like, 40. I was like, what the hell? So you have the 40-year-old kids coming over your house. I'm thinking, like, what? And then I have jobs. They can't afford game systems. So you're just going to have this Xbox 360 set up with 2 controllers. So your 40-year-old kids can come by and play multiplayer games. Like, he talked about them like they were kids. It was really weird. It was just funny, though. I get this image of these 2, like, 40-year-old men coming over like, hey, Dad, you got a game system ready for us to play? Yes, I do. Right in here. We're broke. We can't afford anything. We're out of work. I don't know. But I ain't going to question it because I gave him, as promised, a handle controller with batteries. He calls them handles, which is kind of funny. It's funny. You got to admit, joypads, controllers, handles. He calls them handles. So he got that from me. It was not one of my better ones. It wiggled when you shook it. It shook it, and when you played the vibrator, and the vibrate would actually be off. So it's not something I could really sell, but it works fine. So it's for free as a second controller. No biggie. I took out all the games that were $1 for 360. I took all the games, like multiple years of the hockey games, mostly golf and hockey. I set them down. And I think I'd sold maybe Amped, snowboarding before that. Something else was a Connect game. Set these games down, must have been like 15 games, right? And then he wanted a racing game, so there was Flat Out racing game. Became, special, like I was talking about special deals. I said, I got 10 on that. I'll let you have for 5, right? Flat Out's kind of a fun game, right? You do stunts, and then there's racing in it also. From what I played, it was kind of fun. So he got all of them. He's like, how much for all these? And usually, normally, if there's a stack of 10 games, there's no way in hell I'm going to let it go for $20. Wait a second, no. It was weird. How many games was it? Did you get 15? 15 games, and then Flat Out. Hell, I said for 20, but actually that winds up being exactly the same that I would have charged anyways. So I said $20 for all of them. Oh, okay. So I didn't really lose out because those let those go for $1. So then we have 20. So if you keep them count, we had 10 for Skyrim, take away 1 because of the power supply I got. 10 for 9 for Skyrim, and then Black Ops 25, so it's 35, and then 55, and then I had some other buyers that came by. I think at the end of the day, well, I'll say that for the end. These 2 buyers came by, and they were from a couple states away. They said they were I forget why they said they were in that area. But I think they go game hunting from states to states. Like, I think they might be serious collectors, I believe. Because they were looking through the games I had. Then they walked away from the table. They came back. They were on their phone. I think they were checking out prices and whatnot. And the games they were interested in was Stretch Panic and Dragon's Lair. And it might have a situation where they just look up the prices and go like, "Whoa, we don't have these games." Maybe they're resellers. I'm not sure. Maybe they're collectors. I didn't ask. But they asked me what I would do on those 2 games. And I said, well, anything more than 1, I do a good deal. And I was in a good mood. I think it was maybe 55 would have been total for Stretch Panic and Dragon's Lair. And I came back on the price on Dragon's Lair a little bit. I said 40 for both of those. So 40 for both of those. So I got 40 for both of those. I got their information. And they said they would like me to compile all the games that I have tested and send them a PDF file, maybe periodically. Like, okay, these are some big time collectors. So then if I have like a lot of stuff they might want, they might come back and, do like a bulk purchase. But I think since they only got $40 worth of games from me, I think they probably are buying a lot other places also. So, we're closing in like, near $100. We're closing in near $100. Then there were a couple other sales that I forgot about. Was there a PlayStation sale? PlayStation? Don't think there was. But trust me, everything winded up getting close to like $200 on the table collectively. One of the last sales of the day was a guy. Do you remember the call I got last night from him talking about Watch Dogs a little bit? I didn't expect him there today because it was going to rain. I thought, okay, he's not going to come today. And I told him it was going to rain. I probably won't be there that long. I said I probably won't be there that long till 12, but he came there right around 3 o'clock, maybe right before. And I sold him Watch Dogs and Watch Dogs 2. Because, like I said, I was in a good mood. And I can lower the prices for pals. I can. I sold him Watch Dogs 1 and 2 for $20. What a deal. That's a deal for that fella. I said, tested. I show him a trailer on Watch Dogs 2, giving him an example of what he's going to be experiencing. I said, these are some great games. You're going to have a lot of fun. These are open world games. Yeah, so I got him those 2. And I'm trying to sweeten him up to maybe buying an Xbox 360 back from me that he traded in. I'm trying to sweeten him up to the point where he can get one of those. And then, what's going to happen is he's going to be relying on me to get 360 games because it's kind of hard to find 360 games. And that's the key I'll leave you all with right now is as a salesperson, you want to be nice and friendly to people, give them good deals, but ultimately you want them coming back to you. You want them relying on you. This guy, he trusts me. He comes back. He got picked up like some bad game stuff, I think, somewhere. And he told his wife, he should have went to Rick. So this guy, more than anyone else there, I think he trusts me. And I mean, it's a good thing when somebody trusts you. And I don't do them wrong, right? But ultimately, in business, you want those repeat customers. You want to have something. You want to have, whether it's your personality, whether it's what you carry, whether it's the fact that, you're going to be there for them and get them what they need. You want that customer dependent and reliant on you to serve them. That's what you want. So this plan, this ultimate plan that I have to start converting people back to 360 from Xbox One, this would be interesting because I converted this guy from 360 to an Xbox One because I got that 360 from him with a lot of games for an Xbox One that I got for only $60 that I need to get rid of anyway because, Well, I'm not going to tell you all the story about that, but that's a work, isn't it? Converting someone to an Xbox One, then deconverting them back to a 360, because, honestly, I mean, I'm going to be selling them 360 and Xbox One games, so that's a double when you have somebody that got two consoles and they're relying on you to get games for both. But the fact he was going to pick up Watch Dogs Legion, but he called me, tells me that before he makes game purchases, he's going to depend upon me before he even makes game purchases, which is, I mean, it's kind of weird to have calls from somebody like a customer like that in the middle of the night, like, hey man, tell me about Watch Dogs. Is this a good game? And I told him honestly, maybe I need to get my gaming on a little bit more so I can play a lot of these newer games. But I said, you'd probably be better off getting Watch Dogs 1 and 2, and I have both of those. Is that truthful? I don't know. But I tell you, I just wanted to, I'm around to sell games and around to sell stuff. And there are some games that he traded in that I'm going to sell back to him. Not at a super high price, but he wants Hitman Absolution back. He wants this back. Now, he asked about the backward compatibility on the Xbox One. And I was being honest. I said, not all of them are backward compatible. Some are, some are not. But I tell you that you only have so much hard drive space. So you have to install those games, all those games, onto your Xbox One hard drive. And part of my way I'm going to try to plan to, and this other guy too that has an Xbox One, trade me in those Xbox One games, and he'll be back next week to give me money for that Forza Horizon 4. He is wowed by some of these Xbox 360 games. Well, that guy, Forrest Gump, is kind of easy to please, I would say. Maybe he just hasn't played a lot of the Xbox One games. Maybe he bought the games, but never really. It looks like he never even put the disc in and played them. I don't know what the deal is, right? But I have excited him onto 360. And because I have 360s on display there, it's created an environment to where 360, I'm bringing 360 back a little bit at a time. And it sounds insane because it's an older system, but it's still very viable. There's still a lot of life left in 360. I mean, there's so many positives about it. I can get the games cheaps. I can get the games cheap. They have some pretty badass looking systems. The Slim is still one of the best looking systems. You could see, especially the white gloss one. And there's Red Dead Redemption. There's like freaking the Halos. There's the Forzas. There's a lot of games that are still really sought after. There's even like Sega All-Stars Racing, which when I put that on display, of course, Watch Dogs, some other stuff. There's viability in the 360 as a platform still. I think now more than ever, for the simple fact that I can sell people on the fact that they can get the games, they can test them there. They don't have to install the games. They don't have to install it. They don't have to worry really about hard drive space, unless it's like some of the newer ones like Dragons of the Inquisition and Watch Dogs that take some hard drive space. And I can sell to parents of kids saying like, hey, that one right there, the non-Wi-Fi version, that's basically an offline console. They'd have to, plug something into that and hardwire because it doesn't have the Wi-Fi on the original 360. I could sell that kids packages of it. And the fact that ultimately I say, when you buy this game, you own this game. This is not connected to the internet. You don't have to connect to do an update to install it. This is a game that you put in and you play. And I say this is the last Xbox where you can do that. And also, I mean, they're not $500 like the Series X. So it's very viable. I lost hope for a little bit. I went in to trade in some games. I'm sorry I lied. That wasn't the last point. This goes back into that I keep mentioning, which is that game store instance, that bad situation I had the game store days ago. Now that I've refound my faith in being able to sell a variety of games in a given day, GameCube, I sold Xbox One, I sold Xbox 360, so I think I sold maybe, I forgot, I sold a PS1 game, Dragon's Tales, I sold that one. It was just a nicely well balanced day where I sold all different kinds of gaming stuff. That I could have that day again. If I could repeat that day, maybe sprinkle in some comic book sales, some sales here, some random items, maybe some Funko Pops. I could really make this viable. And ultimately, one reason I was at that game store bringing stuff in to trade in is because I had lost a little bit of hope. You know, I had lost a little bit of hope, but now that hope, that faith is restored in both my ability to be a great salesperson and to be there for customers. And I'd say ultimately, I feel like I'm in the fucking swing of things. I'm back in the swing of things at the flea market.